Hey, welcome to episode 5 of the Rice and Beans podcast. All right, my name's Eli.
And this is Jason.
And yeah, we got some pretty interesting topics to talk about today. So, we're going to be talking about the Billionaire space race, right? How odd and unique that is. Fast and Furious 9 review. I'm also going to talk about the whole series.
I didn't know we were doing that today. I'm stoked. Bring it on.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to talk about all of them. We can't talk about one of them and not talk about the rest.
Yeah, and I like that Fast and Furious 9 follows Billionaire space race.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I guess so. Weird. I didn't really connect that, but yeah. Cuban protesting, right? The protests continue. Taliban taking over the second largest city in Iraq. There's a lot to unload there.
Yeah.
And France angry in the streets about mask mandates and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then we got to talk about Nasty Nate and Chris Trifon, right?
Yep.
Fights coming up here in local Alaska. That's pretty exciting.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, let's take it from the top. Billionaire space race. What is happening? Man, remember in the 90s or like the Cold War, right?
Yeah.
When it was just like the world superpowers, Russia and the U.S., right? And the thing about the nation is like a nation is millions of people. The strength of millions of people combined to send people into space. Now we have one guy with so much money just doing it. You know, this is like, dude, you ever played like he's not a big video game guy, but like there's open world games like Grand Theft Auto, right? Grand Theft Auto 5, for example.
Okay.
Like once people beat the game, they are so filthy rich that they have nothing to do except just to mess around. Like I've seen my brother-in-law. He would be like on top of an airplane just flying around just because he can.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And like if you beat Skyrim and you have all the money, you're just buying towns just for the heck of it. And you're seeing all the wacky stuff you can do. I feel like these guys beat the game and they're just like, yeah, I'll just go to space, you know?
Okay, so what that brings to mind to me is, and I know I'm going right off topic, but it brings to mind to me Jesus saying, it's almost impossible for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven.
Okay.
And I think of the Tower of Babel and how they were always trying to reach heaven.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were doing it in defiance of God, but God didn't like it.
Well, I feel like the Babel guys definitely were. As far as these billionaires, I have no idea. But 100% they were, man.
And then also it comes to mind, and I'm not saying I'm a flat earther, but flat earthers say that mankind has been constantly trying to pierce the heavens and defy, creation or whatever. With missiles and rockets and like arrows.
I feel like, because like these guys already been to space before, right? So it's like, if it was flat, they would be like, yeah, so it's pretty flat up there, you know?
Yeah. Also, what comes to mind is those movies where rich people leave Earth and create their own utopian society.
Well, yeah, and like
in outer space.
In those movies, I never like thought it was just one rich guy. I always thought it was like the government or something that made this society happen.
Yeah, but there's always one rich guy.
There is. Yeah, and so right now we have Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Richard Branson, right? All racing to go to space, to start space tourism. And in Elon Musk's case, he wants to colonize Mars. So, like, he's actually trying to be that guy. Elon is. Yeah. He wants to be that guy.
Yeah. Well, he does have the money to dream and make things happen, man.
So, and I guess the question is, if you were a multi-billionaire, right, it's like, what on earth would you actually do with it? You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people online would be like, oh, I'll be noble and I'll give to the poor and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, you just beat the game if you're a billionaire. You beat the game. What do you do now? Right? That's the actual question.
Yeah. Isaac, my son, which I invited him today, and he declined because he is in the middle of a hard battle of Smash Bros. Okay, you thought I was going to say he was like in Wisconsin wrestling, or
well, no, it sounded like you said a heart battle. I'm like,
a heart battle.
Did he get a heart attack or something?
Maybe. They're going at it. So they had a sleepover. There was 10 teenagers at my house last night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It looks like you didn't get any sleep.
No, I didn't. I had to stay awake making sure teenagers didn't do teenage things.
Yeah.
While while old man Jason and Mama Celeste were sleeping, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I stayed up all night playing video games also.
All right.
And while they all braided Tate's hair.
Okay.
Yeah. Super weird.
I'll be honest, I actually like that they're getting good at Smash Bros, so I'll actually
have some competition.
Yes, and also it's like the youth group game, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it is.
Yeah, because every youth group has a game, and at some point, all of it became Smash Bros.
It's true.
Know?
And it is a culmination of every youth group game.
Yeah.
It's probably some deranged youth pastor that was hired by Nintendo. And he's like, this is what we have to do. I haven't slept in months. I've been working on this project.
Well, because it's both complicated, but if you explain it, it's kind of simple. You have literally 2 buttons you attack with, a normal, a special, and then you just mix that with up and down and left and right, and then that's the...
Wow. See, I never knew that. I'm pressing every button on the thing, and I never know where I'm at on the screen. There's so much going on.
There's a lot going on, right? But if you just practice with one guy and get good with them, you pretty much could put work on anyone.
At one point in the game, it looked like a toddler had drawn a dinosaur, and it was walking across the screen eating people. And I was like, what is going on?
The game divulged into itself, you know what I mean? It's like the game it's kind of like these billionaires.
That's exactly what's happening.
They've done everything, so you might as well just put dinosaurs and toddlers.
Yep, that was it.
And with the new the newest one, they literally have characters that they have no business being in that game, right?
Yeah.
And they're in there. You know what I mean? I love Ryu and Ken. I'm so happy they're in there. But honestly, they have no business being in there. They're not even Nintendo properties.
I totally started out with Ryu.
Yeah.
And it's not the same.
Oh, yeah. The mechanics are different.
They're totally different, man.
Dude, Ryu is like one of the most crossover characters ever. He shows up in like every game you can think of. If there's a punch in the game, he shows up in it.
Yeah.
And pretty much, he plays so different than Street Fighter. Like even in the Tekken versus Street Fighter, the game is more like Tekken than it is Street Fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sad.
And even that SNK game, like the controls were wonky, but even if they weren't, it just felt different, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely something about like Street
same.
Fighter 2 Turbo that is
not Ryu. That's what Ryu. That's what the show should be called. Or the game should be called is not Ryu. Okay. Billionaires going to space.
Billionaires going to space.
Yeah. You know what? It's an activity for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just this is their arts and crafts time, and they've got a trophy, and it's called space, and they're trying to win it.
Yeah, so it's like people always associate Jeff Bezos with like a level of narcissism. Like I obviously don't know the guy, but it's like I think Elon Musk genuinely believes like we have to expand to space for the human race to survive, right? So that's where I see his play at it. I know absolutely nothing about Richard Branson, right?
Yeah.
And
either way, everybody's going to personify what's inside of them and project it on these guys. We have no idea who these people are. They're billionaires.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And but yeah, most definitely, it's like if they're not like trying to really just because like I really again I don't know.
Do you think they wake up in the morning and they don't have coffee filters and they're like, we don't have coffee filters.
Yeah.
No coffee this morning. Do you think they go through that?
I think Elon Musk does. I feel like, again, I don't know these people, but I think Jeff Bezos would like fire his maid. And I know nothing about Richard.
Right.
But
What if his maid was a robot?
I don't think they're
You're
on that
fired.
level.
You don't think so?
I don't think they're on that level yet, man.
Yeah. Mr. Jetson. It's not like the robot from the Jetsons. What's her name? I don't know. Flo? I can't remember.
No, that's the progressive lady.
Either way.
Yeah, I have no idea. So, that's pretty interesting. What's really weird is people are trying to give them flack for it, right? And it's just like, because like they have this weird like Judas mentality of like, you could give that money to the poor.
Well, that was what Isaac was saying.
Oh, yeah?
Isaac, son Isaac was saying, he goes, what's the guy's name? Bezos. He says, he has like $123 billion. He goes, there's like something like 8 billion people on the earth. He could give 1 billion to each person. And I was like, son, I don't even know what that money's backed by, if it's in land, businesses, and property,
it's
and
not,
stocks
it's
and
not
bonds.
like he has cash in the bank.
Yeah.
It's his net worth.
Exactly. And even if it was cash in the bank, that cash in the bank is losing its value. Yeah, so his value is in something that's raising. Money has no value.
Yeah, there's that. And also, I mean, like, it's not necessarily a good thing to just give random people that much money. Like, you hear these lotto stories of a random guy, he gets just 100 million, right? That's definitely not nothing, but it's not in the billions, right?
Right.
And then he ruins his whole life. Like, the next year, he's like divorced, his family hates him, right? He squandered all his money because he doesn't understand how to actually take care of that money.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's not necessarily a winning solution just to give a bunch of people money. And the thing is with Jeff Bezos also is like, money is always attached to something else, right? So there's a story that Dr. Rodney told me, like, he met Donald Trump before he became president, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump, like, at a golf course, and Donald Trump was telling the story of how he went bankrupt, and then the banks actually gave him money because they were attached to Donald Trump's wealth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they gave him money so he could actually get rich again, so the banks could actually survive.
Right, because they're in the system.
Yeah, so then, like, how much more is Jeff Bezos like that, honestly?
Yeah.
So the thing is, if Jeff Bezos, let's say, he gets saved and he decides, I don't want to be a billionaire anymore, I'm going to give it all to the people, give every single human being $1 billion, right? The banks would never allow that. They would all be taken down and destroyed. The system would not survive without billionaires like Jeff Bezos.
Right. He's a vital part.
It's pretty much physically impossible for him to do that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I feel like that every day. I feel like Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
In that, like, I have 3 jobs, right?
Uh-huh.
One job they could do without, but the 2 other jobs, I'm like a youth pastor, and the other one, I own the jiu-jitsu business.
Yeah.
And so in one hand, and both of the youth pastoring and the jiu-jitsu business, I have people that are under me that if I leave, they're not going to find what God has provided in those areas. Like, say they go to another jiu-jitsu gym.
Yeah.
They're just going to be, actually, that's what it's going to be, just another jiu-jitsu gym.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to go and do warm-ups,
do
their drills, hopefully put the time in, get a belt, and leave. And that's all they walk away with. Mm-hmm. But in Revive Jiu-Jitsu, they walk away. We've had 3 kids give their life to the Lord.
Praise God, man.
Like 2 baptisms. Yeah.
Yo.
There's like things happening within Revive Jiu-Jitsu that are not just Jiu-Jitsu. You know, we took about half our group to the park to spread the gospel and pray over people at the park.
Jeez.
You know, Jiu-Jitsu is just it's just a means to an end, and it's for me it's to reach people with the gospel,
dude.
Yeah, because in reality, we're not being attacked by ninjas left and right, this and that, to where we have to use Jiu-Jitsu every day. I've only been in one self-defense interaction in like the last 20 years, and how it lasted like 7 seconds.
Well, if anything, like jiu-jitsu for me, it builds confidence so you could stand up to people where normally you wouldn't, right? Because it's like, if there's someone who's bullying people and you're like, I can't take this guy, then it's like you're less inclined to say you need to stop doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it just helps give people some courage, you know what I mean?
It does, because they have confidence in the system. What also builds confidence is the Bible. And the Spirit of God.
No, absolutely.
Because really what it comes down to is confidence is putting your trust in something. Mm-hmm. And let's say you get paralyzed one day, or whatever, and or you're outnumbered. Jiu-jitsu doesn't win every situation. Just like guns doesn't fight every situation. You run out of bullets eventually.
I mean, that's true. And some wars aren't even physical wars; they're intellectual wars that people are trying to fight bullets.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be somebody smarter. But here's the truth: that if God be for you, nobody can be against you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Mm-hmm. Every word raised and condemned you shall be condemned. Yeah. And it's like, that's where true confidence lies, is when you put wholeheartedly your trust in the Lord. And instead of putting your trust in a system. And I get what you're saying. Like, I feel like kids will have confidence in jiu-jitsu in tournaments and be like, yeah, you put in the time, the training, the effort. What do you have to lose? You go out there, you do 100%, don't think, react, play your game, have fun, win, Mm-hmm. And that's, they'll put their confidence in that, right? But in the real world, that type of attitude carries into the real world, like business and that. But more than importantly, I want, from Revive Jiu-Jitsu, we just want kids to to know Christ and
Yeah.
and know the power of the gospel.
That's really what it's all about at the end of the
Yeah.
day. It really
Yeah.
is. That's what's really going to carry them through life, so
Billionaires going to
Bill-
outer space. Sorry, I went off there.
you did, but it's fine. It was good stuff. I liked it. Billionaires going to space, man. So, yeah, what Isaac said about, like, giving to the poor and stuff,
Right.
that's not inherently bad. Not by any means, you know what I mean? Giving to people who need it, it's incredibly honorable.
Yeah.
And if you definitely had billions of dollars, you can really help a lot of people who need it. You know what I
And
mean?
what you said about the whole system breaking,
Yeah.
dude, that is just what happens. And
Yeah.
and is that a bad thing?
It depends on who you are, and it depends if you're thinking short term or long term, right? Because think of it, like, let's say Bezos does give everyone $1 billion, the system cracks on itself. Those $1 billion won't be worth much of anything, right? The billions pieces of paper, right, that aren't backed if anything, right? Like, but if someone did have $1 billion of like the fiat currency, it would it would still be worth something because billion is just it's a large number. You know what I mean?
Right. It could go right back into the system. I mean, right back into the economy.
We just don't know because, like, the thing is, these economics are like tied to human emotion almost when you look at like the stock market and stuff like that, right? Things go up and down in value not because they actually are more or less valuable, just because people think they are. And I find that so wild.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, everything,
Right.
everything.
It's all in here.
It's all in there. As a man thinks, so he is he.
Yeah.
I had several history professors and teachers, and rabbis and other pastors tell me, government would not work unless people believed it works.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's
100%.
That's the only way it's based on.
Isn't-
Everything is based on what we
yeah.
are convinced to be true.
Isn't that kind of what like rebellion's based off of? It's just like people don't believe it works anymore. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. And I mean, maybe it's time to move on to our next topic real quick about Cuba, man, because it leads right into it. People not believing the system works, man.
Yeah.
So if anyone watched our second episode, we went into Cuba there. We talked about communism.
Yeah.
And what it's really like, you know what I mean? A lot of times America's in their own bubble and they have like a glorified view of like of other things, you know what I mean?
Because of this protest, people have been educated on the history of Cuba, the history of America's interactions with Cuba, the history of Russia's interactions with Cuba. Cuba is like the space race where other countries are trying to have this dominant position on the planet.
So what's the point of having a dominant position in Cuba if I was Russia
It's right next to the U.S.
Oh, launching point.
Yeah, 'cause that was the whole Bay of Pigs thing.
Like,
if you watched X-Men.
I did. First class.
Yeah. That's not what happened. Okay, but they're making a fictional movie, kind of I think to stir people's like interest in what happened. Hopefully kids are like Googling.
I mean, it makes you think, is that the reason why the U.S. wanted Hawaii and why they wanted Puerto Rico?
Oh, for sure.
Right? Because they're like,
and
now
Guam, these are all strategic points.
Yeah.
If you know anything about strategy is about position. And in combat is about position. From chess, you want to take position, control the center of the board. Football, you want to get field position, get as close to the touchdown as possible, right? And in wrestling, jiu-jitsu, you want to be in a dominant position, right? So and then it's all about angles, where to attack, how to attack.
That's a great point. And even when I do play Risk, if you control North America, you have a stronghold, right? It's really hard to actually beat someone who controls the whole of North America unless they make a critically bad mistake, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like Cuba's protest right now has been boiling under the surface of the people for what? How many years? Like 60 years or something, they said?
I don't even know, man.
Yeah. And so I know my family, my mom's family, side of the family is Cuban, and her dad was from Cuba, and he was a merchant marine, and he left Cuba before he was even communist. And then, but his kids in Cuba had to defect and had to leave, via raft, Greek ship on the bottom of the engine room.
Mm-hmm.
One of my uncles smuggled themselves out that way. And then there was like also my tia and her kids. Castro during like 1980 split up families, sending them on planes to Spain, New York, Mexico, all over the world, and splitting up the families. And so we had family in Mexico. That was my tia and her daughter. They sent to New York. It was like he was splitting up families. And then you had the big boat, the Mariel, which the whole movie of Scarface was based off. People have been trying to escape Cuba since the beginning of this communist reign.
Wow.
Right? They took everything. They took land, businesses, everything people own, and took it from them. That's communism.
Well, yes.
We it sucks.
It does suck. Now it's like you have that kind of lifestyle, and then you come to America and you have a lifestyle where if you make enough money, you can just go to space if you want.
Exactly.
Isn't
and
that
if
wild?
you go into Miami, you'll see the Cuban people that come to Miami are the most industrious people, man. They create businesses out of everything, man. Everything.
Dude, yeah.
And they buy land, homes, and on their land and homes, they create even more businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And their family lives together, and then they spread out, and they'll end up buying blocks, the families. They are very industrious, hardworking people. They know what they didn't have. They know what they want, and they go after it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, that's really what America's made of, is people like that. Honestly, that's what makes it run.
Yeah.
You know, the like whole entrepreneurial spirit, where it's like if I work hard enough and I have a plan, you know, we can get there. You know what I mean? We hit those goals.
Yeah. And then I feel like, which brings me back to what I said earlier, was it's impossible. Jesus said it's impossible for a rich man to go to heaven because he already has everything. You know, he already has everything. You know, it's God is not an idea or a thought, you know, for him, because if he has pain or anything, hurt feelings or all this stuff, they kind of just cover it with either medication or activities or stuff, right? And it piles on that they can never reach out to grab a hold of God.
There's that, and I mean, if you're coming to God, you need humility, you know what I mean? You can't come to God full of pride or arrogance.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't imagine how hard it is to not be prideful if you literally have just billions of dollars and the world is at your fingertips, right?
Yeah.
That's a massive temptation for literally anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've met a few millionaires. I've never met a billionaire. And they weren't bad people. They weren't all bad people. Some of them had earned their millions young in life. You know? They were like they were hard workers, and they earned their millions young in life, and they had an attitude of work ethic. And it was almost, they were just like you and me. You know, they were just hard. They just worked really hard, and they went after what they wanted, and they obtained it. And they did have a relationship with God, and it wasn't like they were lacking faith or humility either. These people were humble in that they were willing to listen to new ideas and thoughts, and I think that came from coming from nothing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't step into inheritance.
That's a good point
they
there.
They didn't step into their father's wealth.
They know how it feels, you know, to be on the bottom of the barrel, and just being rich doesn't mean you're automatically like not going to heaven. I mean, even like, you know, even the rich man, the Bible says he was doing everything right except one thing, right? Yeah. So I mean, most definitely, you know.
Yeah, he wasn't willing to let go of his possessions.
That was it.
You know, and it makes me think like, so like Paul's going into these towns like Ephesus and Thessalonica and all this stuff, and he's preaching this gospel that's going against the system. Yeah. Which is idolatry and Caesar worship, and there's an economic system that's attached to that.
Oh yeah.
And then Paul's breaking down their economic system with the gospel. Yeah. So it brings me back to like, has anything really changed? What if Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk surrenders their heart totally to God and just like gives up all their wealth and becomes like a missionary, you know, to some really poor area?
Dude.
or decides to pour all of their wealth into bringing water to Africa.
Oh, dude, that's powerful right there.
Right?
No, that is powerful. I mean, 100% it could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. I mean, honestly, like, the gospel is truly the only hope for this world because it's the only thing that could really change someone's heart. You know what I mean? Like, I understand these people are putting laws in place to, like, govern morality, but that's never their place. You know what I mean? The government does not govern morality, right?
Yep.
And even the church, right? Without the Spirit of God, can't do it either, right? It's just another legalistic system, right? It really is like the heart of God, like transforming people.
Yes,
really.
From the inside out.
From the inside out.
Yep.
That's 100% what it is. It truly is the only hope, right?
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about this morning while I was doing my devotion. When God created the tabernacle, he started with the Ark of the Covenant first. And that's from the Holy of Holies. He started from the inside of the tabernacle.
Wow.
And then he worked his way out.
Well, Van, yeah, so like for people who are listening and like have a hard time understanding like certain books of the Bible, like the book of Leviticus and like all the rituals they do and stuff, I read a book in Bible college called The Miracle of the Scarlet Thread, and that book completely changed my life, just the way I think about the Bible, and like it really connects the Old and New Testament perfectly, right?
Nice.
And like I'm going to boil this down to super simplistic terms, but when I think of the tabernacle, it's pretty much God camping on earth, right? That's his tent.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he set it up similar to how his house is, right?
Yeah.
And like I was even watching this little thing of like Will Smith, he's got mansions, right?
Yeah.
He's filthy rich, right? And I'm sure they're like the most beautiful thing you could imagine. I've seen his RV when he does movies, and it's a mansion just the size, like the size of this room right here, right? And I'm just like, this is the fanciest looking thing ever. And it's like, yeah, if you were filthy rich, right, that's what you would do. And God, like the Lord of all, that's his tent right there, right? And everything like pretty much goes back to the heavens, the Holy of Holies, right? Even to the cherubim, even to all the pieces of furniture, even to like the whole cleansing ritual of just to enter into his presence. There's just so much to it. It's really powerful.
Yeah. And it all points to the cross, and it points to what God does in our hearts. And within that tabernacle was the 10 Commandments, the staff of Moses, and the manna, right?
I think it's the staff of Aaron.
Was it staff of Aaron?
Yeah. With the bud coming out of it.
Yeah, it was an almond tree, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but
it would
like
bloom.
I do remember that. Remember when like people were trying to usurp Aaron? They're like, "Oh, I should be the next high priest." And the Lord's like, "Bring me all your staffs. I'll show you the one I choose."
Yeah.
And Aaron's staff actually grew a bud on it.
Yeah. That
right.
was Korah.
Yeah.
Tried to do.
Korah, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because speaking of tents, his job was to break down all the tents. Korah, when the fire at night and the cloud of day would move, Korah had to break everything. That was what his crew did.
Wow.
They were like the tear down crew and get ready to move.
Yeah.
And it was almost like he was like, I'm tired of doing this job. I'll tell you when we're moving or not moving. I don't know why he wanted to defy Aaron. He just wanted that power.
I think so, man. I mean, yeah, I wish, man, like, I'm sure there's other books of that time to give in more detail, but, like, yeah, there's so much more I want to find out about those times.
Dude, I'm going to go into it. I'm going to go into it now. I'm going to go into it now. Yeah. But, anyways, Cuba.
So, Cuba, man, yeah, they're still protesting, and, yeah, man, that's just definitely like one of the many things that are happening even right now. It seems like so many things are going down right now.
There's so little we can do from here, but there's so much we can do. One of the main things we can do as people of God is pray for a move of God in there. Because let me tell you why. In there's very limited ways for people to make money. Any money they make is taken from them, and they're given the same amount of money as, like, say, a doctor versus a janitor. Same thing. And they're saying the jobs that make the most money are the ones with tips or paid under the table by tourists, such as taxi cab drivers.
Yeah,
like cabana boys. And then the big one is prostitution. They are the number one money-making job is prostitution.
Oh, wow.
And prostitution, they start very young. just like every other poverty-stricken country. Prostitution is human slavery.
Yeah.
And so that has to come to an end. So as people of God, we have to pray against that.
Yeah.
We have to come against it in a supernatural way.
Yeah.
And, you know, do our best. And if you have a way in or have access or ways that know different foundations that rescue these people, you know, give money to that.
Oh, yeah.
Invest in that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, man. Dude, 100%.
Yeah, but we're believing God for peace and revival to happen in the world. And what I mean by revival is God reviving the state of a people group from the dead and bringing them to life in him.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah, man. Definitely. Like Dr. Ronnie used to always say, like, revival is the hearts of men and women falling back in love with God.
Yeah.
Right. And like the seeds of like the gospel have been sown so much in like in the world, but especially even in America. And I personally believe I'm probably Cuba also. You know what I mean? I mean, we were even talking about like all these rappers and athletes and people who just have these Christian roots in them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they fell away. You know what I mean? But it's like it's in there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If the roots are in there, that means they can grow if you water it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It makes me think of this movie. So, like, Keanu Reeves, pretty good actor. He's cool.
Him.
Yeah. But he did one movie that was called A Walk in the Clouds. Probably his worst role ever, right? He went from, like, doing Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and, like, the one where he's a FBI surfer.
Oh, Breakpoint? Is that it?
Yeah, Point Break.
Point Break.
Yeah, he does that. And then he does this movie called A Walk in the Clouds, which is he's like this World War I, World War II soldier that stays in France or something, or Italy. I don't know. But it's on a vineyard, and this family owns this vineyard. They're super rich, and he falls in love with their daughter.
Yeah.
And he's like doing Keanu Reeves. He's like, but I love you. and that's like his one line. It's like, come on, dude.
They can't all be winners, I guess.
Yeah. And but the whole thing is that Keanu like accidentally burns down their whole field. And but they save the root of one of the trees, and from that root they grow a whole vineyard, and that was their whole thing, was that they grew a whole vineyard from one root from the original.
Wow.
Yeah, and so those roots from a root deep in their heart, if it's rooted deep, and it's in love, and it's in God, and it's in His Word, it can be watered and it can grow forth, and they can produce the fruit of love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, kindness, meekness, self-control. You know?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Oh, dude, that's good stuff. That's good stuff for sure. So, do you want to move on to Fast and Furious 9?
Yes. So, Fast and Furious 9, speaking of the space race, they finally got a car into outer space.
All right. So they did. Now I'm looking right here. We have the reviews, right? Not reviews, but like the general scores, and it says it's got a 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 58% on Metacritic, and 59 on Rotten Tomatoes. But here's the thing: it's a 59 on the critic side. On the audience side, it's an 82. Yeah. Right. So then obviously the audience side always has more stock, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because it's like how much you actually enjoy it. And
you know, the critics have a standard that they mark it up against: acting, cinematography,
so
all these things, right?
And the thing about the critic side is, like, you could, like, me personally, I only take it serious if it's a non-political movie, because any movie with any hint of politics in it, it's horribly skewed. You know what I mean? But it's like this one, I actually believe them. You know? Yeah. So. But yeah, they actually mark it up as if it's like a professional, not professional, but it's if it's like some kind of masterpiece, right? I mean, like if they're trying to go for the Oscars, which Vin Diesel thinks Fast and Furious series is actually Oscar worthy. There's some interviews when he's like, "Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, I'd love to see it in the Oscars one day."
Build my resume a little bit more.
Yeah.
What would Vin Diesel do?
But yeah, man. So the whole series, like, if I know some people out there have never seen the Fast and Furious series, all right?
Yeah.
Let's just do a quick breakdown, right? Number 1 was Point Break with cars and like VCRs,
Yes,
right?
Yes, yeah.
That's what
exactly.
it was. And then Vin Diesel and Paul Walker pretty much made the series, right? Their relationship there. Then after that, Vin Diesel was, I think it was doing Triple X or Chronicles of Riddick or something.
Yeah.
So then he didn't come, and like he didn't like the script for the second one. So then Paul Walker's like, well, I like money. So then there was the second movie with Tyrese Gibbons. That's where he comes in, and Ludacris was in that one, and it's like a buddy cop movie, and it's like a side story. It really is.
It was a side story,
right?
And it was in Miami.
It was in Miami. That's cool.
So it brought like that rice burner race car scene, like that's in Miami.
Yeah.
Moroso Speedway and all that.
And then the third movie was pretty much everyone gave up on it, and then I think Justin Lin, I think his name is. Right, he took control of the series, and he made Tokyo Drift because he's pretty much no one wants it, so I'm just gonna do my own thing. Another side story.
Yeah, well, also what was very popular was drifting.
Oh,
that was like blowing up, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it wasn't something new, right?
Yeah,
we've been watching cars since Starsky and Hutch drift corners, but all of a sudden, drifting had become a genre of racing.
Yeah. I remember specifically in high school how we'd be sitting in class and then be like an annoying kid who'd be like trying to flirt for girls. Like, yeah, I've been drifting my car around the parking lot, right? And it's like, I see what you drive. It's like you have it anyway. And it was just like it was a cultural thing, honestly.
Oh, dude, and looking at the tires, were super cambered. And they're like, yeah, I did this for drifting. I was like, oh my goodness, you're destroying your car. You're destroying the whole axles and everything. It's terrible. Terrible. They're like going through all kinds of parts left and right.
Yeah, and I actually love the third movie. Like at the time, I'm like, this has nothing to do with the first two, but it's a great side story. If you just take it for what it is, it's actually one of my favorites easily. And the cars were just so sick in that movie.
Yeah.
And then like the end scene with the race, like drifting down a mountain, I'm like, it's all really cool, man. And I actually love Japan. I'd like to go there at some point. So 3 was cool. 4 was the actual reboot. They're actually going back to their Dom Toretto.
So that should
roots.
be episode 2. 4 is actually episode 2.
4 is actually 2.
Okay.
Right? And then 5 is when they actually start doing the whole team thing, right? Because 4 it was just the main family.
Yep.
5 they started bringing people in, and I personally think 5 is the best in the series. I love it, man. They bring back everyone from the past movies. It's like their Avenger. It's their Avengers movie, right?
Yeah.
And it was so cool. The Rock, dude. The Rock was so cool. He took that series to 11, man.
He was a good ad.
Dude,
great additive.
It was, and
so is 5 the one? Which one is that? Is that in Brazil?
It's Brazil.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, and it's with the safe, right?
They're dragging it around the city.
Dude, it was a great movie. And believe it or not, like the character of Hobbs was originally supposed to be Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, Get Out.
Yeah, and someone on Facebook was like, "What about The Rock? I'd like to see him beat some people up." And then they're like,
Yeah.
And they saved that movie because, like,
God. Hey, Tommy Lee Jones is one heck of an actor.
Dude, I love Tommy Lee Jones, but I mean, it's like everyone has their certain place, you know what I mean, when it comes to movies and genres and stuff.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This is an action movie.
It is.
I just can't see Tommy, and he's tough, mind you. He played Texas football, but I can't see him at his age doing the stuff that Rock did.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't see him fighting Dom in the middle of a warehouse with chains and everything.
I mean, the thing is, he seemed like an equal or greater matchup to Dominic Toretto, right?
Yeah.
That's what was so intriguing about it. Like, if they were to fight each other, I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, in real life?
Or just
Dwayne
like
Johnson.
Just like in the movie, but in real life, definitely Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
hands
doesn't
down.
he train? Am I wrong, or does he train?
I'm pretty sure he plays around with it, but I don't think he's like full-time, doing jiu-jitsu and MMA and striking.
Definitely.
I know he toys with it.
Major time athlete.
And he trains every day, but like fitness. But like fitness, this pizza in my mouth. So Dwayne Johnson would come to when he played for I worked at a restaurant called The Big Cheese, and he would come there every Monday. The man can eat. I'm not going to lie. He's a big dude.
Dude, yes. He's huge.
But what's funny is my nephew one time was there with my sister and their family. And my nephew was probably about, 6 or 7. And Dwayne Johnson walks up to go into the restaurant through the front door, and my sister and her family were sitting on the porch, the front patio of the restaurant. They have tables out there too. and my sister says to Vinny, she says, "Hey, there's The Rock." And Vinny looks over at him and he goes, "You know I like Stone Cold Steve Austin."
It's like, what is this, The Rock?
Yeah.
It's like,
He's like, I'm not
get
lowering
him out of here.
I'm not lowering my standards. And Dwayne Johnson looks back, gives him the people's eyebrow.
Oh.
Yeah. And my nephew like slides down in his chair under the table. He like melted. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh my goodness. That is awesome.
Yeah. So I like Dwayne Johnson because he never wastes a moment to take time for a fan. Like never.
Yeah.
He did. I think he said it one time. He wasted like a moment, like he was like in a rush.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm sorry, I can't right now." And he was frustrated about something.
Oh, yeah.
And he said from that moment, he said it broke his heart. And from that moment on, he always took time to interact with his fans.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's pretty cool.
It's really cool. Yeah.
He was a great addition to the Fast and Furious series.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Excellent addition, man. 100%. So then, we go on to 6. And 6 is similar to 5, right? Just in, like the whole group comes again and beats up a guy, you know?
They still had that Brazilian chick in there, right? The cop, did they?
She was being she was in there, but she was like on her way out, I think, because Letty returned. Oh, so Letty died in the 4th one. She came back around the 6th one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then they had to replace her with Letty.
Yeah, and she was like in a coma. They literally pulled a soap opera coma series.
They've pulled all the soap opera stops, right? They've brought several people back from the dead, right? It's not even funny, right? The coma thing, Amnesia, it was in there also.
Amnesia.
Love triangles. I mean,
my goodness.
they don't stop with
everything.
this. Right?
Yeah.
And
people were eating it up.
Oh, yeah.
It was like people forgot what we really love novellas or soap operas.
They forgot they existed, right? They're like, wow.
Yeah, because you know what? It's regular primetime television, like ABC, NBC, all those things are like on the back burner because people are watching all these streaming stuff.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like they forget about Days of Our Lives, and all that stuff.
Right.
And so now it's like, man, Fast and Furious took a hold of that concept that had so many housewives captive, and they were like, we're going to put it into an action movie, not only win over housewives, but their husbands as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Dude, it was a perfect storm to capture the minds and hearts of the people.
Yeah, man, 100%. So, there was the 6th one, and I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty good. And then, we go on to the 7th one, and this one's a bit sad. That's when Paul Walker died in real life.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then they had...
That was sad. Hey, rest in peace, Paul Walker.
Seriously.
He was a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu. He actually trained.
Oh, nice.
Dude, do you remember when he
got someone in an arm bar?
It was Dom.
Right?
It was Dom. He got Dom in an arm bar. Really nice one.
Yeah.
and out of nowhere, Dom like picks him up to slam him.
because he's the main character.
Yeah. I was like, dude, he should have finished it.
I thought the same, similar when The Rock was fighting Dom in the 5th movie, right? And I'm like, The Rock had him 3 different times, right? But he's not the main character,
No, there's a superpower, and it's called main character.
Yeah.
That'd be an awesome superhero, main character.
Oh, it would be, right? And then he just somehow wins all of his fights, and no one knows how.
Yeah.
And the way to beat him is convince him not to fight. You know what I mean? That's how you beat him, right? Is just convince him otherwise.
You get his girlfriend hostage.
Yeah.
And you hide her. Yeah.
But he has everything. He has the power of friendship. He has the power of will. I really want to, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got all the stops, right? He has plot conveniency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He knows how to work on cars.
Yeah.
He's got swag.
He's pretty good on acoustic. Right?
Yeah.
So
pretty good. Not the best.
So anyway, that's the 7th movie, and pretty much 5, 6, and 7, they're fighting generic thug bad guys, army people. And I'm just letting you know, it's ramping up every time. So it's the 5th one.
Oh, yeah.
You think the safe in the streets of Brazil was a lot. The 6th one, it was a massive plane on a runway that was on fire.
Yeah.
It went at least 12 miles or something, probably more. Right? It was no runways that long.
Yeah.
And it was pretty.
That take right there is back in the day in the Westerns when they would be on these cowboy Indian runs, and they'd go
in the train, right?
the train or out in the prairie somewhere.
But like trains are actually that long though, right?
Well, what they would do is on these takes they would go from one side to another and they'd run back and forth.
Oh,
for every take.
Wow.
Yeah, so it would be like this long run, and it'd be like half the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, in those old westerns. And this was pretty much a similar thing on the runway. Was like this the eternal runway.
Yeah.
Right. This much action is going on.
Yeah.
On the runway. I think maybe it's like this is going on inside, this is going on outside.
Yeah.
At the same time, it seems like it's longer. I don't know.
I think so. That's kind of like Dragon Ball Z logic, where it's like this planet will be destroyed in 5 minutes, and then 12 episodes later.
12 episodes later. Right. Yeah.
And it's like if someone actually will like cut it down to just them doing things, it's closer to 5 minutes. I'll just put it that way. But yeah, and Gina Carano's in the 6th movie. Fun fact: I love Gina Carano. Yeah. She's awesome. Yeah. Right. And she shows up in that one. That's pretty cool. So then, the 7th movie, those movies, they just get more bombastic every time. And then, dude, even the 7th one, remember the part like when he's fighting Jason Statham, right? And he's like, the thing about the streets is the streets always win. And he literally stomps and causes like an earthquake or something. It's like, jeez, Dom. Yeah. Like they should. You should be the next Avengers. Dominic Toretto, power, superpower, family, right?
Yes,
and then he just does whatever he wants.
That's where he gets his power from. His superpower is he's main character.
Yeah, pretty much. So then now let's go to 8th and 9th. So I really believe with all my power and might that the series should have stopped at 7, right?
Yeah.
And 8 was not a good movie. And at 9,
I don't remember what 8 was. It's like who lost at the Super Bowl?
So
I don't know.
8's like when Dom was evil, right? Because the Cypher lady was just like, I'm gonna manipulate you.
That's right.
I feel like all that stuff was unnecessary. I think she could have done all of her plans without messing with Dom at all. And but whatever.
But
right?
they gotta do that even with comic book series.
Well,
they gotta do that. It's like where the hero becomes somehow confused.
It's cool if they do it in a smart way. It's just like this. It was just like it wasn't smart at all.
How did she get in his brain?
She like showed him a picture of like she has his son and Elena hostage, right? And she's like, you gotta do what I say, and you gotta steal these things and stuff. And it's just like. And I'm like, if you paid the Shaw guy, he would have just done it for you. Yeah. Right? And no one would have stopped him. Yeah. Right? And if you, pretty much. Or you could have paid
Was this the Hobbs and Shaw one?
No, this was number 8. So that's
Hobbs and Shaw is a side one then.
It's a spin-off. They want to make a new series based off of that.
Okay.
Right? That's what they're trying to do.
All right.
And, like, all that just, like, I don't know, man. It's whatever. It's fine. You know, we're used to it. We know what to expect.
Well, they did
from
that.
Fast
They're
and
trying to
Furious.
do that with Superman, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
yeah, with the Lois Lane.
Don't get me started on
Superman.
Superman.
Don't get me started,
dude. I am like, so I love Superman. Like when it comes to favorite, like I grew up reading comics, man. I literally went to the library, got all their comics, and I read them all within the hour. Right? It's awesome. I love them. And Superman, my top 3 favorite heroes of all time. He's great. So, it's like I hate it when they do this evil Superman thing, when they're just obsessed with it, making Superman evil, right? And it's just like I understand doing that for 1 or 2 times, right, and making it meaningful and having an important story come from it. But it's like I think people, like, their hearts are just so wicked, like, they don't know what else to do with them. They don't know how to write Superman properly anymore. Like, these new people, right? And then, like, they make these other characters who are supposed to represent Superman, and they're making them evil. Like, the boys, it's supposed to be, like, a Justice League knockoff of, like, the Justice League is evil, and Superman's, like, a dictator, and he's evil. Wow. And then there's a cartoon series called Invincible, where the main hero is name's Omni-Man. He's pretty much Superman, who's also evil, right? And then... And then Zack Snyder's doing the black evil Superman, and then the TV Superman is also being evil also. And then the Injustice game Superman is also evil. And it's like they're trying to give us this message about the character who's supposed to be all good is actually evil. And I see through it. I can see through it so easily. So, I mean...
Well, and the reason why is like Superman almost is like a Christ figure.
Yeah, he
and
exactly
they're trying to
is.
steal that identity from him.
He came from a different world. He was not born from man, right?
He came on an ark.
Yeah.
He's got that Moses feel to him.
He did, and he was like raised in humble beginnings, and he rose up to eventually save the world, honestly.
Yeah.
And he is all good, and he is all powerful.
Yes.
Right? And then that's a good combination to have. And like, if you want to write interesting stories of Superman, it's always a moral dilemma. You know what I mean? He has to be in these moral situations where he has to make the tough choices, right? In like these moral gray situations, but he always comes out, his character unfazed, right? If you want to do a good story of Superman, have one where he loses all of his powers and he's just a normal man, and he's still all good, and he still finds a way to make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Even if he has to sacrifice himself, because that's what,
in my opinion, that is his superpower. It's that he always makes the right choice.
Yeah.
And he's always the good person.
Yeah.
No matter what. No matter what. That's what he does. And they're trying to take that from him.
They are.
For multiple reasons, right?
Oh,
we live in a fallen world.
Okay, there's that. Another one is they're lazy. They don't understand how to write comic characters anymore.
It's easy to write that way because their hearts are wickedly deceitful.
Yeah.
That's the path of least resistance.
It is. They don't understand anything about just like being good, which is as weird as it sounds, right? Because it's like now it's pretty much comics are now just politics. It's gender politics. It's like this and that politics, identity politics. And it's like, it's not about heroism. It's not about doing the right thing, helping your fellow man. You know what I mean? And it's not really about that at all.
Yeah.
And they're either switching the mantle or destroying these characters that used to represent that.
Yes.
And it's terrible because it's like, I don't think any character should switch mantles at all. You should just make a brand new character.
Yeah.
And but yeah, they're destroying them also. So anyway, dude, that's enough for comics for me. Let's get back to Fast and Furious 9. I mean, I'm just getting angry talking about it.
Well, the whole thing came down to them making Dom become evil.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Dom is like, he's a man, right? He's not Superman.
Yeah.
All right. First off, he's not Superman.
He's not.
But the thing is that in his heart, he always wants to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think they covered that in this last movie.
Yeah.
Where his brother had to do what was wrong for his dad to like get some money in a race, like to throw a race, but it ended up going bad and his dad dies. Sorry, spoiler. But but Dom is like, you know, he's all about doing everything right the right way.
Yeah.
If he's doing like bad things, he wants to do it the right way.
Yeah,
kind of.
He
if
does.
that even makes sense.
He's really trying to be like the moral bad guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he does bad things, but he's also a moral person.
Right.
And honestly, like, I don't know when this started, but there was a certain point in the series where I just knew that Dom was writing the script. I'm not Dom. Vin Diesel was writing the script, right? Because it really reads like fan-made like fiction. Have you ever read people's fan fiction where they take a series and then they put themselves in it?
Oh, yeah.
And then now they're the main character? That's what it 100% seems like. Like, I don't know if it started around the 6th or the 7th, but like writing-wise, it was pretty obvious, right? And 100%, 8 is just that to me. That's what the 8th movie is. And in the 8th movie, they also go to Antarctica, and they're drifting on ice.
Oh, that's
and
right.
It's like they fight a submarine.
Right. Yeah, Tyrese is driving like a Corvette or something, or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini.
Yeah, so that
and he can't get no grip.
He
doesn't have any studs, and he's driving.
That's the madness of the 8th one. So then now, and then at the end,
that actually was awesome.
I'm
not gonna lie.
Oh yeah,
that whole scene was insane.
Well, their actions always
bombastic.
Yeah,
their action scenes are like out of an anime. Yeah, and they make it happen.
Even the 7th one when they're driving from building to building.
Yes,
I thought that was
in Abu Dhabi,
crazy. That was
Dubai. Dude, boom,
yeah,
both those towers.
Yeah,
awesome.
It was
the
awesome.
fight scene with Ronda Rousey.
Oh yeah,
dude. Fast and Furious giving MMA fighters an acting career.
Yeah. I think that's awesome, and they have like no shame or like fear of like just bringing people in. Like even in the 7th one, like they had like it was either T-Pain or like Lil Jon or something, but like one of those guys was like the DJ at the party.
Oh
like,
yeah,
have you noticed?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool. So and then going to So the 8th was it was entertaining. We'll just put it that way. That's what they are now.
That's what it, dude. That's what they all are. They're entertaining, man.
They are, but like the 5th was an actual good movie, and the 3rd was an actual good movie, and the 1st was pretty good.
First was pretty good. First
Yeah.
one's my favorite. I'm not gonna lie.
Cool.
Well, it's how it's how what's his name Paul Walker becomes you know a part of their crew. You know, and
it's good.
It's good.
It is good.
All right.
And then so then now we go to the 9th movie. All right.
Yeah.
So then that was a lot of backstory to talk about the 9th, and 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb.
Right.
And so yeah, man, it's 100% the Dom show, and it's written as if like Vin Diesel made a fan fiction character.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's how the whole thing's written. So just letting you know.
What did you like about it?
Okay, the action scenes were cool. I liked all the flashbacks of when they were young. Right. I thought the young versions of them actually did a pretty decent job acting. You know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty cool. I love John Cena. I think I just came to this revelation that I love John Cena.
Wow.
He is awesome.
Okay.
He's just like his acting, his charisma, all of it's cool. He did a movie called The Marine in like the 2000s or
Yeah,
something
where
like
he's
that.
wearing like army fatigues.
Pretty much, and he just beats up some thugs.
Yeah.
I actually like it a lot,
Like
right?
every Marine was like this is ridiculous.
They probably were. They were like, this has nothing to do with Marines.
Yeah. He keeps calling himself a soldier.
Yeah, it's like real Marines don't do that. Like my sister and brother-in-law were ex-Marines. They don't walk around and be like, I'm a soldier.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like they hate what's his name? I'm a soldier. I thought I told you. Okay. Never mind. Go ahead.
So
I thought I had a joke there.
all right.
Go ahead.
I like everything. Yeah, I like pretty much all the times John Cena showed up was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like Francis Ngannou showed up. I'm just glad this guy's getting paid, man.
Yeah.
I'm just glad he's in a movie getting paid, man.
You gotta get paid somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, props to Francis. I thought that was cool.
Dana White's not paying him, so he's got to get paid somewhere.
He's got to get paid somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And the soundtrack, dude. They went all in on the soundtrack,
it was
man.
good.
They like every 12 minutes there was just another like anthem leading song, right?
Definitely.
To just go in on the next part of it. So, yeah, I thought that was cool. And I'm going to be real. I think that's all I could think about.
Okay, so action was awesome.
Yeah.
Off the charts, right?
Yeah.
Everything was off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
They're so creative with their action sequences. Like they're using their cars almost like they're Transformers, like swinging on the wire, flying across a bridge.
Yeah, in the 6th one, remember when there was a helicopter and Dom flew his car up a ramp,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And then he hit the helicopter of like the back end of his
Is
car.
that the one in Hawaii? No. They reenacted that one.
It was like in LA, right?
Yeah.
And it was almost like, have you ever seen like soccer when the ball's in the air and a guy does like a backflip and like kicks it?
Yes, Pele.
Right?
Yeah.
That's like what he did with a car, right? It's like hit the helicopter.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they use their cars like they're
Yeah.
what are those things called? The Gundam type flying machines. Yeah.
Almost, man.
It's pretty cool, man. They really use them that way.
Yeah.
That the action was off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena was cool, right?
Yeah.
And he's I almost thought, I was thinking, like, was he a real wrestler outside of pro wrestling?
Uh-huh.
Because a lot of those professional wrestling athletes actually did real wrestling. Like, what I mean by real wrestling, I mean, amateur wrestling, collegiate.
Yeah, like
freestyle.
Kurt Angle
Greco.
like won a gold medal, right?
With a
broken
neck. Yes, Kurt Angle's the
Could
man.
I forget?
Dude, Kurt Angle's the man.
Yeah.
John Cena, on the other hand, was a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So he went down probably 5 notches in my book, right there. Right when I found out he wasn't a real wrestler, I was like, I don't even know if I could talk to this guy if I meet him.
Like he went up 3 notches when he ripped that kid a new one right in that video. I just thought that was so funny, man. Like it's like he got so offended that this like 9th grader was just like trying to run up on him with like a backwards.
That dude did not look like
hat.
a 9th grader. That dude looked like a grown man that was
That
still
little
a man
kid?
boy. He looked like a man boy.
Dude.
He's like, hey, John Cena. Yeah.
You're whack.
You're whack. I don't like your face.
And John's just like, well, you know what?
Yeah, and then he goes into this whole. It seemed pretty scripted to me.
Do you think so?
Oh yeah, it's WWE, man.
Like
everything's scripted.
Well, maybe it was, but like what made me think it wasn't, like I stopped showing you the video at this part, but after he finished ripping them, right, he went inside and then like the commentators were like listening in and they're like, well, I think John Cena won. And the way they said it was like they didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was scripted. It definitely could have been.
Yeah.
WWE, man.
Well, John Cena was cool in this one.
Yeah.
His character, he is a good actor. If there's one thing WWE creates, is good actors.
Dude, yeah, think of it. You got
Dude,
Dave Bautista coming from there, right? Of course, you got The Rock, John Cena.
Man, they know how to get into character.
Dude.
Like, serious.
Yeah.
We have these pro wrestling circuit that goes on in Alaska.
Oh, right.
And these guys were on WWE.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them. And I got to watch them because they're mixing it up with like Power Plant Productions. Matt Plant is mixing it up with like cage fighting, pro wrestling, and then they'll throw some other like hokey thing in there, like I don't know, catch an oiled pig. I don't know, but what's it called? And I got to watch these pro wrestlers prepare before they go out to perform. And this one pro wrestler, I'm not lying, dude. He used to be in WWE, and I don't remember his name. But he's these are like retired. They're like out of the game now. Yeah. Right? They have to go back to the minor leagues. And so he's staring in a mirror at himself and for like 2 hours, and he was breaking a sweat, getting into character and walking back and forth, looking at the mirror, and he would stop every once in a while. And dude, he'd start like making faces, and these emotions would start boiling out of him. And I was like, me and Matt Parker, we were like, look at him, look at this guy. Oh my goodness, he's going in, dude. Holy moly, he's gonna catch on fire.
You're making me think like, do like method actors do this like in their trailer before they come out?
They might.
You hear these stories of like the method actors who are just like. Because, like, acting is just like, I'm going to pretend to be this guy. Method actors is like, I am that guy.
Oh, definitely.
Right? And it's
just
definitely.
They take on the nature.
And then you hear the stories of the guys that play Joker, right? Like Heath Ledger or Jared Leto, right? They're just like, I am the Joker. Yeah. It's like, that is dangerous territory you're going into.
It is.
You know
What's
what I mean?
crazy is this is a Joker that they've created. Because if you go back into the original comic and the old series, it was like Joker was like kind of clownish.
I mean, yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, and 100%.
He was like a low rate criminal.
I think he was based off of like this old movie. I think it's called like The Man Who Laughs or something, and the main character like has some weird disorder where he's just always smiling and stuff. But it was never as malicious as it was now. Oh yeah, 100%. And it goes back to the whole evil Superman thing. Yep. These people, man, they're
projecting their inner sins on these characters,
dude. 100%.
And then they're committing suicide or ended up in the hospital.
Yeah, and then it's just like, remember, like, was it like the Joker shootings? Like they shot people up in like one of the Dark Knights, right in the theater. And then you have these two people who dressed up like Joker and Harley Quinn, and they would kill people. Yeah, and it's just like what are like
you cannot tell me that there's a demonic spirit attached to that
there has to be
assignment.
There has to be. And
I won't even watch the new Joker it's not new no more. Yeah, was Joaquin Phoenix?
Joaquin Phoenix.
They're like, he has mental disorder. I work in behavioral health. You know, and I'm not gonna. And my son watched it. He goes, Dad, it was just sad. I was like, son, when did you watch this? And he was like, I went with, his friend, a group of teens went to go watch it. And he was like, he goes, it was just sad, Dad. It was so sad. It broke my heart. And I wonder how others look at it that were, maybe taking on that nature.
Yeah, like, I've never seen the new Joker, but, like, I feel like another lazy thing they do is just like, a bad guy? Mental disorder. Bam. you're evil, right?
Right.
and it's just like, that's lazy. It's disrespectful, and it's glossing over the real questions, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
that need to be asked.
Of course.
So, I mean,
well, mental disorders and all that stuff comes from trauma.
yeah.
And it starts in childhood. You know, if you want to talk about real evil, and it's evil grabbing holding of a child and developing and being nurtured by its environment.
That is true
You
evil.
know,
Yeah.
like the Bible says, parents, raise your child in the way that they should go and protect them. It says to not be overbearing on your child and put a covering over your child, you know, and love them, right? And you're supposed to represent God to this child. When a child looks to you, they should be like, I love him no matter what. He loves me no matter what. You know, my mom, my parents, they love me. They protect me. I know I see this as this awesome person that I can go to, right? And then, but somewhere along the line, hey, children, bad things happen to kids, man.
Yeah.
Parents can't always be there at school, in the playground, at a
true.
parent's house, at a family's house, right? Someone you trust that you don't know, the evil's dwelling in their heart.
Yeah.
And so trauma does happen. But the difference is, does that kid have a good stability that they can come back to their parents and be loved and be accepted and not be ashamed and guilted in burying that trauma? And the next thing you know, they're coming up later on in their teen life, and they have identity crisis. They don't know if they're gay, straight, trans.
Yeah.
They don't know why they're killing small animals and enjoying it because it relieves the pain that's inside of them. They don't know why they're doing all this stuff. And it's because they didn't have a good covering at home, and their parents weren't observant enough of their children to recognize, hey, my child, there's something wrong. They're injured emotionally. And this develops into criminal behavior.
Wow.
You know, to where they start breaking things and it starts expressing itself outward. And if they don't get the help needed, next thing you know, you have a Joker movie on your hands.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. 100%, man. Yeah. So let's get back to Fast and Furious 9. And let me start off with some things I didn't like. So Cypher's haircut. She's got a boy haircut, right? She looks like one of the villagers from Shrek, right?
So I was watching. That's funny. Yeah. I was watching Studio C the other day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a sketch comedy by Mormons, and I was and it was this character they've developed, and it's kind of stealing Saturday Night Live's character of Justin Bieber, where the chick puts the Justin Bieber haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she imitates Justin Bieber. He's like, hey, what's up, girl? This one that goes out to you from my heart, right?
Yeah.
You know, good old backsliding Justin Bieber. And then Studio C had the same character, but this Justin Bieber type character does a podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, but takes phone calls.
Uh-huh.
And it's like takes phone calls and it's all awkward and it's a teenage boy. It was hilarious.
Okay.
And will Justin Bieber ever grow up? As many tattoos as he puts on himself, I don't see him as an adult.
I think I don't. It's hard for me to see him as an adult. Also, I think it's just because it's been so instilled of our minds of him as like a little kid and him as like an annoying teenager, right? Who would just do stupid things,
Right.
And then we're supposed to just believe he's an adult, and it's just like there's a process that needs to be had. I think he just needs to like do adult things.
Well, here's the problem. Okay, do adult things. The problem with the world is they label adult things, adult content, adult behavior, adult books, adult
a lot of
knowledge,
times
and
that's
it's
just
all
sin.
sin.
It's not adult,
It's
just
not,
sin.
It's all sin.
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
I meant like invest in the stock market or something. I
Right.
don't know. That's like
Exactly.
adult
It's
to
like,
me, I guess.
It's like here's like Ashton Kutcher. When Ashton Kutcher went from the 70s show, he really made the transition. Here's
did.
Ashton Kutcher saving slaves.
Yeah, that's
you know?
right. He targets
Human
like the sex
trafficking,
traffickers online with their websites. He goes after them.
Yeah.
He's an adult.
He's an adult.
A man.
He's an adult. Ashton Kutcher did it. He's an adult.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber going out getting tattoos and boxing lessons and trying to fight, bouncers. That is not adult behavior.
I think he's trying to transition to like start doing like worship stuff and worship concerts. Like He might be an adult within the next 2 years, hopefully.
Maybe.
But
He needs to start a foundation.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
I'm optimistic.
Dustin Poirier, adult.
Oh, 100%. He's always been an adult. Like have you seen
that's true,
dude?
Dustin Poirier has been an adult since he was born. He came out a baby fighting.
Dude,
in the back streets of Louisiana.
There's these I forgot the movie what it's called, but it was like an old movie that it goes into a gym in Louisiana and it shows the circuit, right? Like the whole circuit, how hard it is for fighters. And a young Dustin Poirier was actually in it before he even made it.
Yeah.
And then he made it, and it's just you'd actually watch his upbringing.
Dude,
right?
Louisiana puts out a lot of fighters, and the fight scene in Louisiana is real.
Yeah.
American Top Team has a lot of prospects that are in Louisiana, and they're trying to get them out of the circuit like Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
Right? It's those that make the sacrifice and the discipline to stick to it no matter what.
Absolutely.
And Dustin did it.
Dude.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Life happens.
Yeah, man. And
you got to get a real job.
Dude, champions like Blachowicz, like Oliveira, like Michael Bisping, they never stopped. There are several points you could point at in their career where they could have stopped and everyone would have been like, it's okay. They were like, no, it's not okay.
Yeah.
And then they became the champion.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Michael Bisping on Ultimate Fighter was one of my favorite participants in the Ultimate Fighter.
Oh, yeah,
it was
season?
him, and there was another British dude. And they were
Ross. Wait, no. Was it Ross Pearson?
I can't remember.
But yeah, he was like a shorter, bald British guy, and he was just he got eliminated, and then it's they needed someone else, right? And then Dana went through 3 guys, and they didn't want to fight. And then he's like, good old Brit, and he's like, yeah, mate, I'll fight you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Michael Bisping pushed through that. I've seen him push through a lot, man. The whole Dan Henderson late punch knockout.
Dude.
Well, he knocked him out and then he late punched him.
Right, a lot of people would just ended their career there, but Mike came back, man.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Michael Bisping, he runs his mouth.
He does,
and he's good at it. He's like the British Chael Sonnen with the trash talk.
He really is.
He's gifted.
Yeah,
it really is a gift. It's a talent.
The wit.
Yeah, the wit. And I honestly, I don't think Michael Bisping's ever gone too far with his trash talk.
No,
I don't think he's ever gone too far. He's actually respectable, and he keeps it in the context of the fighter. There's some of those that get into this character assassination and go way too deep, like Conor McGregor.
It goes back to what we were talking about of method acting, right? Like Colby Covington and Conor McGregor. I really believe they're method acting these characters, and then it's seeping into their personality.
Oh yeah,
right. And then that's why he just lost it after he lost to Poirier.
Yeah,
right. And he just went crazy with it, man. And he started going after his wife and his character, and it was just
he's reaching. That's called panic fire.
He's
reaching. He's like, I have to find some kind of weakness, and now I have to go after his family and this and that. And he's doing it verbally, so it's like,
oh man. Yeah, and it's he's doing that on the ground with a broken leg, and it's just are you kidding me? And he's like, I'll fight you outside if I have to, and it's you'll die.
Yeah. Well, the Bible says in Proverbs, you can beat a fool to death, and he will not learn his lesson.
Oh man,
and that's it, dude. That stood the test of time right there. Was Conor on the ground, broken leg, still talking trash. This is his second loss to Dustin Poirier.
It is, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy because everything you said he'd do to Dustin happened to him, you know? Going out on a stretcher, right? And he's all like, the first one who shoots a little beep. And then he did it.
I tell you what, man.
Yeah, took a hard L.
Dustin, it seems like he's got God on his side because those words are being turned on the other person. And that's a good sign that God is with a person.
Yeah, man.
When someone's being condemned, and then that other person, within the hour, day, or week, and even month, tragedy strikes them.
I really believe it, man.
Yeah.
I really believe it for sure. And definitely, man, I think, I don't really know Conor that well, but, I feel like I just have a sense that Conor's kind of backslidden also. He has some roots in him that he went the complete wrong direction. And he just has to get it right, man. That's really it at the end of the day for him.
Yeah, Ren Collective should reach out to him.
Oh, they're Irish also?
Yeah. Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
I love that band. They're my favorite band.
Yeah, so Fast and Furious 9, all right, Cypher's haircut. She's like trying to be sexy, but she looks like an ugly boy, right? So I'm like, it's not working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
And then
and it may work for the deceived out there that are like attracted to cartoons and stuff. Oh, trust me, there's a whole group of young people that have it's like...
I know that because like people are like simping for Lola Bunny and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Right?
I don't even know what or who that is. But I know this much.
Yeah.
In America, food doesn't taste like food, but Americans crave it. And then when you go to another country and you taste real food, you're like, where's all the salt? Where's all the preservatives? Why doesn't it taste like styrofoam?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. The world tastes, they crave fakeness. They want it because it applies to their fakeness.
Well, yeah, Lola Bunny is the bunny from Space Jam, right?
Okay.
Like Bugs Bunny's girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
She's the star in the new Space Jam.
Oh, like the main character?
Yeah, dude, she pulls it off, man. She's a baller. She's like, you know.
Okay.
Bugs Bunny's he's just a goofball.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just
he's
like...
Bugs Bunny. He's from Brooklyn.
All right.
It's weird he can't play basketball.
Anyway, yeah. And then it's like her like tricking the rich kid to join her. Like I didn't see how that happened. Right? It pretty much didn't happen at all. Because like the only conversation they had, it was like the first time they're like, aha, you're locked up. And the second time she's like, you ever watch Star Wars? Right? And then he's like, oh yes, Yoda's a powerful master or like whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then she like insults him by saying he's a puppet. And the next thing you know, he's like, yeah, I'm working with her. You know, it's how did that happen, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey, you never know. Honestly, I work with kids. Sometimes you have to say the stupidest things to get that kid to realize, you're like, you ever watch Coco Melon? You know how the song goes like this, patty cake, patty. Well, that's where you're going wrong.
They're like, yeah,
I think I get it now.
I understand.
So I'm gonna transition real quick to Nate and Chris for their fights for the AFC.
All right.
So when I'm coaching Nate is a heavyweight.
Yeah.
And every time I'm trying to teach him something, I'm talking like in technical terms, and he's looking at me like a deer in headlights. He's just like, he does not get it.
Yeah.
But then I'll change it in reference to like eating food. And I'll be like, so when you're bridging, I want you to reach this way and bump his face with your arm, but your hand, you're reaching to the top of the cake to get some frosting off of it. He goes, I get it now.
I understand.
It's all about the cake frosting. And so if I refer to food, at first he got offended, and now he's like, that's the only thing that works with me. He's literally...
You're just making me think of like Kung Fu Panda
literally Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to go on another rant about Kung Fu Panda.
All right.
Keep me back on topic with Nate and Chris. But Kung Fu Panda is a total ripoff of Beverly Hills Ninja.
Really?
Oh, my goodness. Have you seen Beverly Hills Ninja?
No.
Chris Farley.
Like, I know he's in it. Yeah, and like Liu Kang was
Everything. Liu Kang. I like that we don't know his real name.
Nope, he's a Filipino guy.
We just know him as Mortal Kombat character.
Yeah.
The whole movie. Chris Farley's character is Kung Fu Panda. Me and Isaac were like jaw dropping because I hadn't watched Beverly Hills Ninja since it first came out. I saw it in the movies with Shane Lopez, Mr. Lopez, the history teacher. We saw it when he was like 14 years old. And then I was like, son, he goes, let's put on a funny movie. I go, you know what's funny is Beverly Hills Ninja. I remember I seen that and laughing, right? Let's watch it. The whole time we had jaws drop. We were like, this is Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
100%. Everything he says, does, and acts. And then I was like, Jack Black has literally plagiarized Chris Farley's whole acting style.
Yeah.
And the only difference is Jack Black can sing and kind of play guitar. And he adds that too. He's like a singing, dancing Chris Farley.
And like I think Chris Farley does that thing where he like loses it like part of his skit, right? And like I don't really see Jack doing that as much, but like they're very similar. Definitely.
He did it in Orange County.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to Nasty Nate and Chris.
Yeah, so they're fighting.
Yeah. So those who don't know, Nasty Nate and Chris, fighters from Alaska.
Yeah.
right? And yeah, Jason is one of their coaches, and
I'm
they're
their jiu-jitsu coach.
yeah, and they're gonna be fighting. I think this Wednesday. Where at?
Oh, in Anchorage, outside
Mm-hmm.
AFC, Alaska Fighting Championship.
Yep, I see it. Yep, and it's on Facebook also if you want to check it out. You know what I mean? Alaska Fighting Championship.
Yeah.
Their faces are on there, fighting 2 local dudes. So.
Yes. It's been really hard to get fights for our guys because most of our guys, we just run through everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not just boasting. The thing is like Alaska's got not very many gyms, right? So they can only produce so many fighters.
It's a pretty tiny population.
Yeah. And the fighters around here like work full-time jobs. They have families, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this small group of like, well, I'd say actually that's the small group is those type of fighters. There's a large group of guys that don't even train, that are just a bunch of bums that sign up to get a quick cash prize.
Dude.
And AFC's willing to throw them in the cage against, trained fighters from other gyms.
Is that what's happening here with like I think this guy who Nasty Nate's fighting, I think he's fought before, but like the guy who Chris is fighting, like, is that it?
We don't know who he is. Here's another thing. Alaska is very strong military presence.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of military people here.
Uh-huh.
And we think this is just a guy off base. And so they do train on base.
Okay.
They got classes and all that stuff, and they do up to Combatives 3. But outside of their military training, which only goes to about combat, which is about blue belt.
Yeah.
Level jiu-jitsu and about, basic fundamentals for striking, right? And then they do a bunch of fighting with weapons and knives, right? Right. So, I mean, as they should. They're soldiers, And so he's Army, and they have a gym where they do train MMA, and they have coaches on staff.
Okay.
So he might be training there. I know the owner of Redemption used to coach there, and he's coached something like 10,000 soldiers.
Okay.
Some outrageous number. And he's very heavy presence over there and going over there and training and coaching. So he might be getting coaching from him. I don't know. ABJJ, they have an affiliation or a connection somehow to the Army, and he might be going to train over at ABJJ, Anchorage Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which they have an awesome program there too. Yeah. Yeah. Ryder's the head coach there, the head professor, the owner, and then you got they got really good coaching over there.
Wow.
Actually, the gyms in Alaska are very solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Legacy gym, they're connected through to Aries Jiu-Jitsu, and they also have they're wrestling on their South Anchorage High School wrestles there. They have a really solid team, Muay Thai team, and those guys are like the leading right now in the cage. Yeah, like fighters, but it's pretty even all over the board. There's this one dude named Gio who's like one of the best striking coaches in Alaska, who's producing multiple UFC fighters, and so they. And ABJJ has I forgot her name, but she's in the UFC, and I think she's up for a title fight here pretty soon.
Oh yeah,
or a chance for a title fight.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I think I can't remember. Oof.
Well,
yeah. Well, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a real good MMA scene here, dude. Chris Trifon.
Yeah, the Athabascan Assassin.
The Athabascan Assassin.
Yeah, so excited to see that happen. Yeah. But, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to Afghanistan, dude. So...
Iraq.
Afghanistan.
Is it Afghanistan? I thought you said it was the largest city in Iraq.
I probably said Iraq, but I meant to say Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
So, yeah, so it's the Taliban actually taking over the second largest city in Afghanistan. Right. And when I was looking into it a little bit the other day, they said some people estimate that they've taken over maybe around 80% of Afghanistan, as U.S. is moving their troops more and more out of the territory. And this is kind of wild that like a whole state is just literally under terrorism like that. And like supposedly like some reports say that they're literally just pillaging women. You know what I mean? Like if they're barbarians. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So all that stuff is really wild, 100%. And it just makes you think, because I even remember, like, growing up with, like, Bush, and we went into war and stuff. And it really is, like, man, like, what would even be the right decision to do? You know what I mean? So, like, let's say the U.S. leaves and goes back to their own country, right? Then it's like, do we let them just fall into chaos, right? Or
Yeah.
and then it's like, and I mean, they have their own corruption problems to deal with, right? So it's like, even if we do train them up, which I'm sure we have been doing, it's like, who says that they could actually keep the front line? You know what I mean, where does the U.S.'s responsibility end in this? It's definitely complicated, and I know there's no easy solutions when it comes to, like, foreign affairs, right? There's just no, like, oh yeah, the answer is this, and you know. But
Yeah.
I just think it's pretty wild that they've actually taken over a major, like, a large city.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, I'm looking at Bill Baker. One of Bill Baker's posts, he posted a meme,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows 1975 communists take over Saigon, and it's a soldier with no legs in a wheelchair, and he's reading the paper, and it says communists take over Saigon on the newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going, ugh, and he's sitting there with no legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it says 2021, and it's also another soldier with a mechanical titanium leg, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it says Afghanistan's second largest city falls to Taliban, and it's the soldier sighing again, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, what a waste, you know? What a waste that you know. It's funny because I'm not military, but I've had the pleasure of and the honor to meet people that have served in the military and served overseas and have fought for other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've literally stood in the gap, right, on behalf of people that can't fight for themselves. What an honorable thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, they were working for the military, and they're, you know, for the U.S. military, and that's their assignment. But what comes with that is passion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their heart and their soul and and everything is put into that. And now to see it taken over, what they fought for,
Wow.
and they've lost. They've lost lives, limbs, friends, family, you know?
Yeah.
They've bonded with people, and they are no longer like that's their family now, right? They've bled and died and ate and showered and lived and fought and everything alongside and with their comrades in arms, right? Their brothers in arms, and now to see it taken, it's very sad. It's very heartbreaking. You know, it sucks.
Yeah.
It does suck. And it makes you, when things like that happen, it makes you want to point to somebody. Why is this happening, and why are you letting this happen?
I mean, some things you just can't point at someone. Like, you just don't know. Like, who would you even point to in this situation? Like, aside from, I guess, the terrorists. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's the only person you could really point at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And and their motive and root, you know, plays such an evil role.
Yeah.
And who's behind them, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, well, the crazy thing is, like, so WikiLeaks they actually put out these documents that pretty much says that Osama bin Laden was actually working either with the CIA or was a CIA agent.
Yep.
And even Fidel Castro even believed that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like stuff like that makes it like a bit conspiratorial, but also just makes it hard to trust what you see on the surface. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And which brings me back to what we were talking about in the beginning, is government only works if we believe in it. And there's so many cracks that are breaking on the shell of the surface that are making people doubt our government and how it operates. So, like, our government, I mean, if you look at it, it does work, right? But I think, like any government situation, when the person that's evil gets into a position to make things happen and doesn't do it, or selfish, or not even evil or selfish, just lazy, you know, and doesn't make things happen, that's an important position with a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Of a political position, you know, not just president, all the way down to mayor, governor, you know, House of Representatives, all these different things, man. You know, all this stuff, every person's part plays a role, and more importantly, every citizen's plays a role.
Yeah.
You know, in making their voice count. And that's why there's so many like groups that get together and try to make a mass group to make their voice louder.
Yeah.
You know, and to try to sway political votes. And it's like, what's going to happen if those votes go, and what's going to happen here? What's going to be the result of it? Is it always going to be this utopian society that everybody's longing for?
Honestly, like, because like since the U.S. is so diverse, it's also so big. We have literally 50 states. I mean, like part of the solution might just be them doing their thing statewide. You know what I mean? Because then that seems more manageable, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then like these certain states have these policies. If you like that kind of thing, then there you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the person on the other side of the state doesn't have to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, that would put us back. I feel like that would put us back to like before Civil War times, North and South.
I mean, I'm not saying we segregate or anything, but it's just like you pass the legislation within that state, and then that's it.
Right,
and
for those people.
For those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going that way naturally, where people are either leaving a state and going and flooding another state.
It does, with all the people leaving like New York and California.
Yeah.
You know, and Texas is getting pretty popular, and so is Florida, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it makes you think, because like the Democrats have such a strong presence in media, right? Their voice, right, on what they want to, their agenda and what they want to push.
Yeah, and I think kids and like young people don't understand how to like recognize what is and isn't propaganda. Right, so I was like listening to something from Jordan Peterson. Right, he's a psychologist, pretty smart guy. Right, very smart guy actually. And he was talking about how he just can't stand the movie Frozen. Right, and he says because like Disney's supposed to do like mythology and mythos, but Frozen is straight up propaganda. Right, because mythology, it tells you stuff and it makes you think about it. Right, and you're supposed to ponder, what does it mean? You know what I mean? Even like he's an example of Snow White. You know what I mean? Like, the witch comes. What does the witch mean to Snow White? She has an apple. What is this apple? What kind of temptation is it? What do the 7 dwarves represent? You know what I mean? And it's like you could interpret it in different ways, but propaganda is when they tell you exactly what you need to think, like exactly how you need to interpret it. You know what I mean?
They'll make
That's pretty much what it is. And even the news is supposed to be like the first part where they just tell you what it is, and then you need to make your own decision.
Yeah, this happened.
I mean? This happened. That's it. The news now is like, well, this guy is evil and you should be angry about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's
like there's a car accident. And
right.
Yeah,
and Jeff Bezos is responsible somehow or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like the car manufacturer should be held responsible. And it's like, you need to let them make their own decisions. Just give them the facts, right?
Yeah.
Just give them the facts.
This is what happened.
This is what happened. So definitely, I think one reason they're so powerful is that kids just don't understand how to differentiate the two. Because if they can, then they'll see it everywhere. It's like you can't unsee it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then you just start not trusting the media.
Yep.
And that's the right thing to do. I don't know, like, you probably experienced something similar, but even growing up in school, there's always like a group of kids. They're not just always girls or boys, and they were gossipers, and they were kind of like race baiters, but really they just wanted people to fight. They wanted conflict. They would go to one person and be like, yo, so-and-so said you're a piece of beep. And then go to the other guy and be like, yo, this guy thinks you're a beep beep. And then they would instigate the fights, right? And it's like, you're not scared of him, are you? And then when these two people would see each other, they would just be hostile. And then they would start fighting, and it's all these people's faults.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I was always one of the ones that was being hostile.
Yeah.
I never got into the group, but it seemed like the group was always picking me.
Yeah.
because as a young child, I had no control over I had no self-control.
Yeah, and I despise that group with like all my heart. And then what I think and what I see is like the media is that group. That's what they are, right? They 100% are, and they're pitting you against each other with lies and manipulation, and it's 100% disgusting. And like if this whole system does fall and we do revolt, we gotta tear those things down too. They really should be on the top of the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos needs to donate $1 billion to everybody. The system needs to come apart, and it needs to be built from the foundation up.
And yeah, on the foundation of truth.
Of truth.
But also of non-partisanship, you know what I mean? So it's like whoever is doing like the media, like as to the best of their ability, you just need to do the facts. Because here's the thing, you can do the facts and then do later shows of your opinion. That's fine. But like there needs to be a clear line between the two. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I was sitting in Shane, one of Shane's classes. Mr. Lopez shout out to you, Shane. He's one of the history teachers over at Kenai Central High, right? And he teaches world history. And we're watching different ways of propaganda.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Shane pulls no punches. He always he's a good teacher, no matter what. And he was showing how America was also using propaganda against the Nazis. So,
Captain America.
pretty much, but it wasn't like at that time.
Okay.
Right? And which I'm going to get back to that. Hold the Captain America thought.
All right.
And so they were showing Nazis as like animals, like monsters. And yes, okay, anybody that's killing millions of people just to take what they have, that's wrong. I'm not saying the Nazis were right in any way.
Yeah.
But what they were doing was dehumanizing the Nazis to make it easier to go over to want to volunteer to be a part of the military.
I mean,
to kill them, right? To kill it, because it's not easy killing a human.
No,
you have to see them not as a human.
That's right. And every time any group like dehumanizes another group, regardless of how evil they are, that is obviously a red flag, man.
Yeah.
Because like the heinous things you can do to something that's not human is like immeasurable, right?
Yes.
You will truly become the monster you think they are.
Yes.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people do that online.
Yeah, they do.
They do it online because the person's no longer a human. They're an icon or a picture or an avatar or just words on a screen.
Yeah.
They're just a screen in a computer.
There's that, and like going real quick back to the Joker, like, you know, in the Dark Knight movie where he says like give someone a mask and like a gun and then you'll see who they truly are, something like that. You know what I mean? So it's like if there's no consequences, they'll do what they want. And that's kind of what the internet is, because it's like no one's going to punch you in the face for what you say.
Have you ever done that? Put on, and it's funny because like Halloween kind of brings this out of people.
You think so?
Okay.
I mean, I've never really celebrated it, so I don't know.
All right. So at Halloween is like the perfect time for young women immediately to start dressing very provocative.
Yes. Okay, I noticed that right off the bat.
Yeah, and 100%. It's like
I'm just like, yeah, that's who they actually are.
Yeah.
On Halloween. Yeah. Because they're like, no, I'm just want to dress pretty, and it's like you're just trying it out. You're just trying it out. That's what you are. You're seeing if you could be your real self and how harshly people would judge you for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And so it's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, and like. So at Halloween at American Top Team, we would do like a Halloween party all the time. And so during we never canceled classes. So we would have classes, but I would dress up like in a character, Spider-Man or something. And one year I dressed up as Deadpool.
Yeah.
But I kept the costume because the costume fit me so perfect. It was like a really nice Deadpool costume, and I kept the costume. It fit me perfect, and I would put it on not on Halloween. And this is the truth, man. Whatever you put on, that like what you said, will showcase that real person.
Yeah.
And I totally could not stop dancing.
Eating chimichangas, one-liners.
I kept doing one-liners, and you know I'm crazy about one-liners. I can't stop. and then I couldn't stop doing like gymnastics and acrobats, and I was like pulling pranks on people.
Yeah, I think
I no longer was running the class.
Yeah.
I was no longer the head coach. My assistant coach had to run the class because I became Deadpool.
I mean, putting on any kind of suit just like inclines you to do the thing. Even if like a business suit, you're just inclined to be more business-like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why the Bible says to put on the garment of praise.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it gets you ready.
Yeah, and then Jesus says, "I'll clothe you in righteousness."
Right.
It's awesome, man. That's good stuff. I think we covered a really cool topic there.
And it's like the armor of God. It is practical,
wow.
but it's like it also, if you put the armor on, you're a soldier.
You're
right?
a soldier.
You gotta act like
one. And if you're a Marine, you're a Marine. Do you think in Rome they were like, "I'm not a soldier, I am a centurion," right? But that's like a general status.
I think it depends on who asks them, right? So if a lower rank says you're a soldier, then you're getting whipped, right? You're getting flogged.
Yeah.
If an upper rank, you're like, oh, yes, sir. Yes, I am.
Sir. I am a soldier. I thought I told you. Yeah.
Well, back to Captain America. What were we going to say about that?
So Disney has a thing, and it's like they flipped the script because they got all these alternate universes, and they're using this guy, the Watcher. Tell me about the Watcher.
Oh, so in the comic book, the Watcher, he's got a big old head, right, with glowing eyes, and he's like a galactic being who, there's several of them, and they just watch, and they like write things down, and they have immense cosmic power. They're not the most powerful, but definitely they're on like the mid-higher tier of cosmic power. And they're meant to just be like just to like write things down, record events, and to watch things. So that's what they are.
So the Watcher is presenting in this one show by Disney, and it's called What If, and the Watcher presents it almost like a narrator of an alternate universe of Captain America. And what's Captain America's name?
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers gets like the octopus group where
the Hydra.
The Hydra infiltrates the time where Iron Man's dad, what's his name?
Howard Stark.
Yeah, Howard Stark is getting ready to make Steve Rogers Captain America, put him in that little Iron Maiden chamber thing, and fill him with
drugs,
good testosterone, good PEDs to save him. It's for the good cause.
These drugs are for America.
It's for America. We need performance enhancing drugs for America. So Steve Rogers is shot and doesn't make it to the chamber, and his girl that he has an attraction to,
Peggy Carter.
Peggy Carter is like, she jumps in there against everybody's will, and Howard Stark is like, "I'm doing it," and the other dude is like, "Don't do it, Howard. She's a woman.
Oh,
don't let a dame do it."
Oh, yeah, dude. Of course they're laying heavy that stuff on. I mean, it's Disney.
It's Disney,
because like even yesterday, Little Jake, right, was like, "Oh, I want to make a thing where like comic and DC, like I'll make a movie when they're together and they fight." And I think I came off as like a bit of a jerk, but I'm just like,
fine. That's just how we talk to kids. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just like, don't even bother. Just make your own, right? You don't want anything to do with these people. They're taking something that, like, I thought it was pretty awesome at the time, and it was pretty straightforward, and they're really turning it into just politics, and they're running it to the ground. And in the next 10 years, it's like more of an abomination than it already is.
Okay, so I think that advice, you can give him that advice maybe when he's 16. He's like 12.
Yeah.
He's 11, 12 years old.
All right.
So like little Jacob, all he sees is superheroes in action.
Yeah.
Right? All he sees is their powers and the action. He doesn't see the political agenda of like, which, listen, the political agenda, it has positives and it has negatives. Always. It's always going to have positives. Yes, women should have equal rights. That's easy, hands down.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, and like this is gonna sound maybe a little dumb, but like one of the more annoying things I find about the political agenda is they think everyone's an idiot, right? So then they're like, even if that, it's like, no, not a woman, and it's just like, who thinks like that? Is there anyone who's actually saying that? Who's like watching the screen? He's like, no, a woman getting superpowers, right?
Right.
And it's like, I think one of their biggest offenses is they think everyone's a complete idiot, and they're just like in their own vacuum tube. You know what I mean?
That is correct, man.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of women that are doing amazing things.
Yeah.
Every day.
Absolutely.
From the beginning of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
It's not like they're missing out, right?
Yeah.
And it has been proven true. Women, they develop faster than men. They talk faster. They end up walking faster, and this is for good reason. A woman has way more responsibility at the home than the man does. You know, they're gonna nurture and raise kids. They're gonna have babies. You know, men don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't go through that. Men don't. All we have to do is go out and do the grunt work. Honestly, you know, and so women have, even in the Bible in Proverbs 31. You know, it talks about, you know, the awesome woman. What is she? A virtuous woman.
Oh,
it's
man.
like,
She's a busy lady.
She's a busy lady. Dude, she's coming up with money on her own. She's buying land. She's making clothes.
Yeah.
She's got like a textile industry that she's developed.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like beauty is like it fades away, but a woman that fears the Lord is awesome.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like this is like
man.
Wonder Woman, right?
Dude,
that Proverbs 31 is talking about.
That's great that they added that in, because I mean, like, 100% beauty fades away, man, but like woman
for
of character,
sure.
like you can't shake that foundation.
Can't shake it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they took a good character like Peggy Carter because, you know, she's British, so she's got busted teeth. Just kidding. So but they take this character in that, and they put her plug her into the machine. She jumps into the machine. Yeah. And then it takes a while before she has to step into action. Almost like Steve Rogers didn't step into action, right?
Yeah.
He had to do like all these little shows, and he was like a clown until he finally just went to rescue the boys, right? Yeah. The 501st or whatever.
Yeah, and so like pretty much like
she's the one that takes that spot. And then they make Steve Rogers the Iron Man character.
Steve Rogers was Iron Man then?
Yeah, so
How did that work?
Well, they because he's like injured and can't walk. He's like paraplegic.
Yeah.
And Howard Stark makes him this Iron Man machine type thing, like a first generation.
That actually sounds pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie.
And dude, he's flying into action with Peggy Carter like riding on the shoulders.
Yeah.
And he'll fly in and she jumps off like into action. Boom.
Dude.
And he's like blowing up
cars. That actually sounds awesome.
Dude, it was super awesome.
Like a steampunk kind of.
It was very steampunk.
I love that, honestly.
And Peggy Carter, she's super British, so she's so polite.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, sorry, I thought you wanted to dance.
But like, it's
Is
almost
it tea time yet?
It's almost cruel though, because like he can't walk, so they can't have their dance still.
Right, but how they're dancing is like in battle. That's what they're saying.
Okay.
I guess we're having our dance. Yeah.
But it's not an actual dance.
No, it's like,
he can't walk.
Yeah, they're murdering people.
Thanks, Marvel.
Yeah, they're straight up blowing up planets and killing Nazis.
And
that's how they're dancing, almost like.
I always think about that in movies when they're killing all these people, and I'm just imagining that one of them is my dad, and I'm just at home like, I guess he's not coming home. They're dancing around his dead corpse as we speak, right?
Right. A young German kid at home,
right?
Yeah, sitting in his lederhosen. Just finished his sausage.
If I was a supervillain, I'd get all those orphan kids and make them my henchmen, and then we would just go to town on these people, right? They have all the motivation in the world to hate them.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, because it's
pretty
like
good.
Just because it's like, I understand you have to fight them. It's a war, but it's like there used to be like a level of respect. I'd like to think,
especially at that time.
Yeah, like a certain level of respect. You know,
There was.
Right.
There's stories of like both sides of like England and Germany taking breaks for like Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
You know, and even times where they came together. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild, but those are both very European based countries too.
Right.
You know, it's not like guerrilla warfare.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. So all right. So you know what? That was a good talk. We're getting up there in time. Let's go ahead and do the random question generator.
Yeah.
So actually, when like our friend Maddie's going to start helping us out with this podcast, which is awesome.
Maddie.
Yeah.
Oof.
She pulled this up already, so I read it. I usually read these off the cuff, so just letting you know I did think about it. And the question is, if there were an Olympics for average people, what would some of the events be?
Olympics for average people, like people that didn't dedicate their life to the to the sport.
Normal randoms, right? Like
Office workers. It's Olympic. It's like field day. It's like field day at the Google building, and they all like come out for lunch for field day.
Yeah. And
what's funny? What's funny is we used to do this with our church circuit in Miami, and it was like all the churches would come together for a field day, and we had like Olympic events.
That seems fun.
Yeah. It was and it became like an outreach. But here's a funny thing: like youth pastors,
overly competitive. Is that what you're saying?
Overly competitive.
Okay. Yes.
And this is how I got into church, was because of the field day activity, the church Olympics.
So it's like you're 100% right, because even when you talk like. I think what Brother Ed would say stories of when they would play basketball against other churches, and Gary would just like be a bully.
Dude,
right?
yeah, he was the goon.
Yeah,
he was the goon, and he was just like go out there to like hurt the other team.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
we're gonna have Gary Morris on here,
and I feel like if we were to play other teams, this whole youth group would be the goons. We would be the bad church who would just bully the other churches, right?
Definitely.
Like I think I'm the only person here who's not competitive, right? Everyone else is just like, we're gonna win and we're gonna destroy them, right?
Yeah, and you know what? The other churches know that too. They actually they call our church.
What?
So they're like other youth groups call our church our youth group the off-brand youth group.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love it, man. I almost want to label our youth group off-brand youth group.
We're not the Cocoa Puffs, we're the Chocolate Puffs, right?
Yeah, we come in the big bag at the grocery store. Right?
Yeah.
With some crazy, wacky cartoon character on there.
Yeah.
Like
we're Icy Flakes. Yeah. Frosted Flakes.
Right? Icy Flakes. It's like a villain character. Icy Flakes. Tell him Icy Flakes. It's like a real dude that's doing time. This is Icy Flakes. It's like Michael Icy Flakes Johnson. Yeah.
That was quite the tangent. Olympics, average people Olympics. So like Maddie, like when she read that, she's like, yeah, it's like how many cheese sticks can you shove in your mouth at one time? Man. And I'm like, that sounds like an insult that like a British person would use like against Americans. Right?
Definitely. I think it would, instead of cheese sticks, I think it would be Cheese Whiz. Because the Cheese Whiz in the canister, they'd be like timing them.
Like how many cans can you actually empty into your mouth?
Yeah, in a certain amount of time. Yeah, and you have like them all in their like sport polo shirts, right? With like the short like tennis 70s style shorts with high socks.
I was just
like feeding them cans, like a row of them. Here they are. And there's another guy decapping them and polishing them off, shaking them up, ready.
Like I was just imagining like an army vest that has like holes instead of like ammunition. It's like Cheese Whiz, and you're just like.
I think they should have a team. A team. It's a team because it's an Olympic event.
Oh yeah.
And you have like the head coach who's like into it. He's like reenacting. He's like, do it. More thumb. More push with the thumb. You're not doing it correct. Yeah. He's on the side hyping him up, slapping him in the face, giving him pep talks. Remember your brother. 4 years ago, he couldn't finish the last can.
Right.
Yeah.
Their self-worth is tied into the can again. Yeah. Right? It's like, I won't be like my brother.
Yeah.
I'll make my family proud.
Yeah, and if it's like China.
I was going to say China is going to win every event. Those skinny Asians are just going to tear it up, man. They're like, I haven't eaten in 3 weeks for this event.
But no, America pulls this like scrawny kid from like New Jersey out of the woodwork, right?
He's gonna have those like epic like movie stories, right?
Oh yeah. He's a skinny, scrawny, pasty Italian kid. He's like half Irish, half Italian.
He's like, yo,
just
Mick,
an outcast.
Right? What you gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna be the best.
Yeah, here he is. Yeah, it's Cheesy McDougal. He's coming to do it. I'm bringing it back to the States. I'm bringing back the gold for Cheese Whiz Championship back to the States. We're going to do it this year. Cheesy McDougal and the McDougal family. That's right.
Yeah, and he later becomes the inner city teacher that takes kids off the streets.
Cheese Whiz saved my life.
We just made a trilogy of movies
60
right here.
60 years later. He's an English teacher. He's old. He's got gray hair. Let me tell you how cheese whiz saved my life.
I used to be the best once. Now it's your turn, kids.
Yeah, it's just like these thug kids wearing the one-piece futuristic outfit, purple tinfoil looking thing.
Right.
All right.
That was good.
Okay,
was
I
good.
think that answered the question.
All right.
I hope you're happy, Maddie. This is what you get.
Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, so that ends the podcast. Hey, thanks for listening. Next one's going to be pretty good also. And yeah, you guys could find this anywhere where podcasts were found at. You know what I mean? Spotify, iTunes, you know, all that stuff.
If
YouTube,
it were a
Facebook.
CD, you'd probably find our CD at Goodwill, Salvation Army. No,
or even like, I'm not sure if Walmart still has a CD section, but if it does.
Oh, it does. The bin.
Oh, the bin.
The bin, the $5 bin.
We're at the bottom of the bin.
We're bad. You got to dig. That's what the Bible says. Dig deep to find wisdom.
If you want gold, you got to dig for
there
it, right?
It is. All right, good call.
All right, so see you guys later. Thanks for watching.